You guys want a little piece of truth this morning as we get started? Your success in this company, and if you're going to take notes, this is a good time to start. Your success in this company will be dependent upon your ability to implement very simple tasks that can be duplicated by a large number of people. Repeat that again. It's not going to be dependent upon what you know and your ability. The past does not equal the future. We all start with a clean slate, okay? Whether you're coming from jail or Yale, it's all the same. It's going to be dependent upon your personal ability to implement very simple tasks that can be duplicated by a large group of people. Look to the person on the left and the right of you real quick. Just take a second. Who's on your left? Who's on your right? Do you know what they have in common with Elizabeth Weber and Joanne Shee and Frank Kiefer and Joe Girard? That's where Joe's groupie sat. Do you know what they have in common with those people? They all have the exact same company. They all have the exact same pay plan. 5 and 5, 1,500, same leadership bonus, it's the same. They all have the exact same thing. They all have the exact same events. They all have the exact same products. The person on your left and the person on your right has the exact same. Elizabeth doesn't have a different product line than you do. Everything is the same for every individual in this room. The person on the left, the person on your right, Elizabeth, Frank, Joanne, everybody else. Do you know what the X factor is? Is you. It's the person in the chair in the middle. You are the X factor. And that's a great thing if you can embrace it. And we've given you some great tools to be able to do that. And I'm going to talk to you real quick about a very simple task that can be scaled up infinitely. And it's going to be probably one of the biggest things that you can take out of this weekend that'll change the complexion of the way that you lead and the way that others follow you, okay? When we first got started, I went to an event very similar to this. I was very underwhelming at the time. I was 23 years old. You know, JR talked yesterday, everybody competes on who is the brokest. Well, I was probably more broker than you. The debt collectors carpooled to my house at that time. It was bad. Regularly, lights shut off. Things were a challenge. But I became very hopeful that there was audios, there was programs, there was things that could teach me to fill in that gap between where I was and who I was and where I was going and who I had to be when I got there. There was people that had done it before me, and each generation in this business, there's no need for you to start out as an orphan. Okay? There's no reason for you to make the mistakes of those before you. And so I grabbed a hold of that. I didn't know exactly if I could do it for sure, but I knew others had, and if I did what they did, I could do it. And I held on to these audio tapes. They were cassette tapes for those of you in Joe's section over here. It's a piece of plastic about so big. You'd order them. They were $5 a piece. You had to send in a manual order form, send it to Greensboro. They would send you back a week or two later an audio. Nowadays, I'll talk to someone on the phone. I'll talk to my son, Colton, and I'm talking about an audio, and I'm like, you really need to get it. It's so good. You need to listen to this audio. He's like, Dad, I've already downloaded it. I'm playing it. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And so that's changed very, very quickly. My brother invested heavily in audios and played like a pharmacist with me. And very rarely could I get a direct answer from him about anything. He'd say, that's a great question. I'm going to send you an audio. You need to listen to it. And then he'd have me start buying them. Whenever I was at his house, he would frisk me looking for more cassette tapes because I would steal his and put them in my car. I used to go to show the plan. I'd open the door and cassettes were falling out of the car. And listen to Pam and Tony so much. I know their story better than they do. Sometimes when they tell it, I'm disappointed because I do it so much better. I'm like, come on, Pam, you missed the one about the VHS tape they sent you and you almost didn't listen to it. But every time I put one of those in, they gave me hope. And one thing I've found is a lot of you spend a lot of time getting people in this room, and then you wait for the next live event, the next 6 months to get people in another room like this. And that's a long time for that little birthday candle size belief that they get this weekend in themselves, in the company. That's a long time to keep that little candle lit. For me, those audios were a daily thing that kept it going. When Jackie Blasco got started in our business, the first thing she did, she bought every audio that we have. Every one, some of them multiples. Success leaves clues, guys. She bought every single audio that we have. Ernie and Jeanette Hikas, $1 Million Club members, bought every single audio that we have. Everyone I know that's earned $1 million or more in our organization bought every single audio that we have. Things got better for us. We ended up taking a 5-year sabbatical, started a children's home in Mexico. Things went amazing. We came back, and that's one thing I noticed is the audio programs. There weren't enough people listening to audios, and I started banging on the door and calling and sending emails, and JR jumped on board, and he made a comment to me. He said, you know, I've listened to an audio every day since I was about 20 years old. Who are you guys following? He makes more than anyone in the room. I would do what he does. He said, listen to the audio every single day. And so I started looking, and the company developed an app to make it possible for us all to be able to listen to those audios every day, but there were some flaws in it. I learned a cool thing the other day from $1 Million Club member and director in our organization. Get this right. Melanie Nelson, I follow her on Facebook pretty avidly. She taught me this great word, flossom. Our app was kind of flossom. Flossom means an individual who embraces their flaws and knows that they're awesome regardless. Are there any flossom people here today? It's important to embrace your inner flossomness. Our app was kind of flossom. It was a great idea, but it wasn't quite where it needed to be. We had 1,452 audios. To find what you needed was like finding a needle inside of a stack of needles. It was very challenging. Most people were more frustrated than inspired when they went to go listen to it. And so we got to work on making it better. JR invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, and put some amazing minds. I want to mention something real quick. These names, these people, they're not here. They're probably not, well, Kevin Buckman, Eric Fisher, these guys will hear it. Kevin Curley, Haley Gable, Aaron Brendan, Trevor Brindle, Mike Sither. He's a Kentucky fan. I'm going to mention him anyway. Those guys worked their brains off to make this possible for us to have a technology that's going to allow you to lead in a completely different way. You don't know them, but every one of you owe them a great deal of gratitude because there's people in this company that you don't interact with that make your life possible and they make your dreams possible. So you need to know who they are. So 1,452 audios. We went to Greensboro. My wife went. My son helped. I went with Don. I called Don Martin. All kinds of people gathered. What are the best audios? What's going on? We decided to do something really simple. We narrowed the 1,452 down to a couple of hundred. Okay, the 2 major events are now available on this app. And so once this weekend's over, last year's event in Miami is going to fade away for the most part, other than stories or something that can't be changed. And this year will be added. So you have the last 2 major events available on this app. If you go to it now, if you've gone to it in the past and you were frustrated, I'm sorry, you're sorry, get over it. Download it again, update it. It's got a new iTunes update just a couple of days ago. These things are all live now. This isn't something that's coming out in April or some other time. It's available to you right now to listen to as you're getting ready each morning and as you're going. So, things like the back button. I'm not going to list all these details. You can go on and kind of figure them out for yourself. Media detail, things are searchable. You put in isotonics. You put in an individual's name who spoke on stage. Every audio that we have now is currently labeled and tagged so that you can find that specific thing. You put in omega-3, you put in isotonics, it'll pull up things that have it within their categories. They're separated from things that are available in Spain, from Singapore, from Taiwan, to the United States, to Canada, Australia, to things that are available for everybody. The search feature is available. You can put in field leaders, you can put in a lot of things in the search, plus the categories broken down into the basic 5, every important area of it. Guest login, you can send one to a guest, which is how we got where we are. My only plan was to show Frank the plan, stir up enough interest, he'd listen to an audio. And that would keep him going until I could follow up again. We haven't had that in the last few years, guys. This is a game changer for the way that you build. And so now when you've got a few extra minutes and you're sitting there, I'm just going to do it real quick. I got 8 seconds. Bam, bam. Gary Rogers, thank you, ma'am. Amber Yang, I'm going to send you an audio, and I'm going to attach a note to it. Amber, when are you going to get serious about this business and make some real money? Bam. Now she's got Gary Rogers' testimonial, and she'll be listening to it this afternoon. I'm creating more hours outside of my time. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. We got some amazing things on YouTube and other places to learn more about this. Create some leverage, make some money. Thanks, guys.